Serving a defendant in another state is a fundamental challenge in multi-state litigation. The mechanics depend on the type of case, the rules of the court where you filed, and the specific state where service will be executed. Here is the complete guide to cross-state service of process. The constitutional foundation. Under the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, a defendant must receive notice of a lawsuit and an opportunity to be heard before a judgment is entered against them. Valid service of process is how that constitutional requirement is satisfied. Long-arm statutes govern whether an out-of-state defendant is subject to the jurisdiction of your state's courts at all. Most states have long-arm statutes that allow jurisdiction over non-residents who transact business in the state, commit a tort in the state, or own property in the state. Confirming that jurisdiction exists over the out-of-state defendant is the first legal step. For federal courts, Rule 4 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure governs service and allows for service in accordance with either the federal rules or the law of the state where the court sits, or the state where service is made. For state courts, service on an out-of-state defendant typically uses the Uniform Interstate Depositions and Discovery Act, or the long-arm service statutes of the court state. Most states allow mail service on out-of-state defendants in certain circumstances, personal service by a process server authorized in the state where service is made, or both. Finding the defendant's current address in another state is the prerequisite for everything. Professional skip tracing provides verified current addresses, typically within 24 hours, for defendants in any state. Once the address is confirmed, the options include personal service by a process server in the defendant's state, service by certified mail with return receipt where allowed by the court's rules, service through the Secretary of State for entities registered in that state, or video service in a small but growing number of jurisdictions. People Locator skip tracing locates defendants in all 50 states and U.S. territories, providing the address data needed to effect valid service. Visit peoplelocatorskiptracing.com to place your order. Results within 24 hours or less.